bunch of faux colonial McMansions, and some cute, decorous downtown shops. And some historic landmarks. Lexington played a memorable, though tactically meaningless role in the Revolutionary War. So there's a lot of historical authenticity going on here, as is clearly indicated by a lot of helpful informational plaques. After the first week or so, I had a pretty solid routine going. In the morning, I slept through my mom leaving for work. On her way, she would drop my impressively but slightly disturbingly athletic little sister at soccer camp, leaving me completely alone. I had Honey Nut Cheerios for breakfast, which you'd think would get boring fast, but actually I found myself enjoying them more and more as time went by. There's a great deal of subtlety in your Honey Nut Cheerio, a lot of layers to uncover. I learned when to make myself scarce. I found ways to absent myself from the house from 5:17 p.m. to 6:03 p.m., which is when my sister muffed the tricky fast bit in the third movement of Vivaldi's violin concerto in A minor 17 times straight. I generally skipped out after dinner while my parents, they got divorced a couple of years ago, but my dad was over for some reason, probably to talk about money, had a nastier-than-usual fight about whether or not my mom should take her car into the shop because the muffler rattled when you went over bumps. It put things in perspective. Note to self, do not waste entire life being angry about stupid things. As for the rest of the day, my strategies for occupying myself for all eternity were mostly A, going to the library, and B, going to the pool. Generally, I chose option A. The library was probably the place in Lexington where I felt the most at home. And that's not excluding my actual home, the one where I slept at night. It was quiet at the library. It was air-conditioned. It was calm. Books don't practice violin or fight about mufflers. Plus, they smell really good. This is why I'm not much of a supporter of the glorious e-book revolution. E-books don't smell like anything. With an apparently infinite amount of time at my disposal, I could afford to think big, and I did. I decided to read through the entire fantasy and science fiction section, book by book, in alphabetical order. At the time, that was pretty much my definition of happiness. That definition was about to change in a big way, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. At the point where this story starts, it had been August 4th for, I would say, approximately a month, give or take, and I was up to Flatland, which is by a guy named, no kidding, Edwin Abbott. Flatland was published in 1884, and it's about the adventures of a square and a sphere. The idea is that the square is a flat, two-dimensional shape, and the sphere is a round, three-dimensional shape. So when they meet, the sphere has to explain to this flat square what the third dimension is, like what it means to have height in addition to length and width. His whole life, the square has lived on one plane and never looked up. And now he does for the first time, and needless to say, his flat little mind is pretty much blown. Then the sphere and the square hit the road together and visit a one-dimensional world, where everybody is a near infinitely thin line. And then a zero-dimensional world, which is inhabited by a single, infinitely small point who sits there singing to himself forever. He has no idea anybody or anything else exists. After that, they try to figure out what the fourth dimension would be like, at which point my brain broke and I decided to go to the pool instead. You might jump in at this point and say, "Hey, Guy, it's Mark. Okay, Mark, if the same day is repeating over and over again, if every morning it just goes back to the beginning automatically, with everything exactly the way it was, then you could basically do whatever you want. Am I right? I mean, sure, you could go to the library, but you could go to the library naked, and it wouldn't even matter, because it would all be erased the next day like a shaken Etch-a-Sketch. You could, I don't know, rob a bank, or hop a freight train, or tell everybody what you really think of them. You could do anything you wanted. Which was, yes, theoretically true. But honestly, in this heat, who has the energy? What I wanted was to sit on my ass somewhere air-conditioned and read books. Plus, there was always the...